Welcome to this webinar about pre-algebra and algebra. All right, so about our math classes. And so we want to introduce to you how we do things here in the Well-Educated Heart Academy, and specifically talking about these courses and being able to answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so that is the main objective here. We have here with us a couple of our other teachers. All right, we have Alan Powell. He is our world geography and world religions teacher. And Kristen Wilkinson is our other math teacher doing math algebra 2. So we also can entertain questions for them if you have any. All right. So we are not a very big group, so I invite you to participate and ask questions, okay? And I'm going to also be asking questions to you, all right, and see where we go from here, all right? So the main thing that I want to convey to you is my objective here in teaching math is to help all the students achieve two things. Okay. One is to basically have the confidence that they can learn math. All right. So that is one of the main objectives, is to have no math anxiety here. So math anxiety is a very, very real phenomena. And it is something that is a learned attitude. Okay, so it's something that people learn and develop over time. And usually they develop that by observing and watching and interacting with other people that have math anxiety also. Okay, all right. And so fellow students or even teachers, sometimes you may have an English teacher that says, "Oh, I hate math." Okay, that is not good. That is not, that is a contagious bad attitude towards math. Okay, so what we want is, first of all, to help all the students to have no math anxiety. To actually, if you want, okay, to develop a love for learning math. All right. And so that is one objective, number one. The second objective that we have here in the class is to build a solid foundation of math. Okay. So what we want is for every single student to know what they know and know what they don't know. Okay, but the parts of mathematics that they know, that they are kind of on a solid footing and being able to progress from there. Okay, so that is kind of the two main objectives that we have here. To me, is better for a student to maybe cover half of the course, but not to have math anxiety, to love to learn it, okay, and to have a solid foundation of that, whatever it is, however far they get, into the course. I think that is fantastic. Okay. And so that is where we are going to go for that. How are we going to do it? Okay, how are we going to achieve these two objectives? All right. Well, the objective about having zero math anxiety has to be kind of a collaborative approach. First of all, we the teachers, we model, okay, that we love learning math. Okay, I have to say, I really enjoy learning math. I have lots of books about mathematics, okay, and many times I go to sleep, okay, and first before going to sleep, I read some some good math problems, all right, and some good theories and everything. Okay. I always am thinking about ways of how can I teach these concepts better? How can I help the students to understand things better? Okay. And so that is part of what we do as teachers. What do you think that you as students or as parents of students can do in order to help yourself or your students lower their math anxiety or have no math anxiety, actually develop a love for learning mathematics? What do you think that you can do for that? What are some of the things that you think you can do? What do you think that you can do as parent, okay, as a parent to help your student with that? Alan, what do you think?
Great question. I was just asking myself that. I think what you said is not to have math anxiety ourselves, but also to show, for me, one of the biggest things is to show how things break down.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, if you've got a mountain to climb or a challenge you're facing, it's too big. But if you will break it down into parts, and I found this especially with higher math, break it down into parts, it becomes those little parts are doable.
Yeah.
So just to talk through and make sure we're seeing the forest for the trees, right? Not getting stuck on the big picture when there's small things that we can work on.
Things that you can work on. That's right. Yes. Okay. So one of the things that I would love, okay, so that is very helpful. Another thing that as a parent that parents can do to help their students is to help them, okay, stay engaged in the classes, okay, and participate in the classes and ask them what is it that they are learning. All right. If parents stay curious about what the students are learning, what their children are learning, that is something that is a good thing. I am not very good at that. I have to tell you, this is not an easy thing because usually when I ask my children, all right, hey, how are you doing in school? Good. Okay. So what are you learning in math? Stuff. And so I have to kind of try to pry out of them. All right, well, show me your homework, okay? And I get more enthused about doing their homework or helping them to do their homework than they get to do it themselves. All right. So I'm still learning how to develop this role better as a parent. There is though one thing that as parents we should never do with our students. Okay. And that is model the wrong attitude, and saying, oh, this is I don't know this stuff. Okay. I even if you sincerely don't know it, just try to show interest in learning. Okay. That is a key thing for that. All right. What can you do as a student to help yourself learn math and lower your math anxiety, have a positive attitude about it? What do you think as a students you can do? And all of us here are students. Okay, so I'm a student, and everybody is a student
Yeah.
here. So what do you think? Annie, do you have so I if you are driving, don't interact too much, but you can talk, okay, if you need to say
All
something.
right. I know. I'm sorry. I actually didn't know that my speaker was on. So I'm going to turn it off right now.
That's all right. That's okay. So just be careful. All right. Okay. So, Stuart, what do you think that has helped you with math? What has been your experience?
Um, I think that a person one-on-one teaching me and less reading about it, like someone explaining the concepts of math.
Okay. All right. So that helps. All right. When you have the explanation, all right, going. Okay. Cambriana and Nathaniel, what do you think? What has helped you?
I don't know, maybe just like practicing a lot and doing it more.
Practicing a lot and doing more. Excellent. Okay. Yeah. Melissa, what has helped you?
I think as I'm working with my older boys, getting them through pre-algebra, I think just sitting down with them and like the other kid said, kind of explaining it one-on-one. So when one of my sons is struggling, I'm figuring it out with him and we're kind of doing it together. And I think just continuing to have that success is something that kind of keeps us both going. So even if there's small successes, like, because I don't always know what I'm doing, but it's like, okay, well, let's look and let's try to figure it out. Let's go back and see where you know, kind of made your mistake that led to a wrong answer. But I feel like just working together one-on-one and continuing to have that practice.
Continuing to have that practice, yes. So math is a new language. Okay, so math is really a language that we need to learn to use, and so practicing how to use a language is essential. All right, so if you want to learn a foreign language, you cannot just read about it, okay? Like Stuart was saying, you cannot just do that. You have to actually practice. You have to have a coach, someone to help you around, and you have to do a lot of practice, like Camriana was saying. So that is essential, and trying to figure out what are the pathways to improve, okay, like Melissa was explaining, working the problems out. So that is how we do that. In our class, we also are going to need to have a lot of participation, okay? So in the Well-Educated Heart Academy, we tried, to have what we call the flipped classroom model. Any of you already have taken classes with us in UEA? Okay, Stuart, Camriana, you have taken classes here. So what is the way that the courses work as far as kind of the expectation of what is it that the students need to do before they come to class? What have you experienced? Which classes have you taken, and what is it your experience? Do you just come to class and show up and listen, or?
So I've taken one of the literature classes and health class, and with literature, we just had to read the chapters, like whatever chapters we were reading, so we could discuss it. And then with the health class, we had to read through the material, and then a lot of times she had like an assignment for us to do, like a project.
Okay, and that is before the class, yes? Yeah, okay. So, and in math classes is exactly the same. In all the classes, we do the same thing. We have assignments, exercises, even some quizzes and everything that the students are expected to complete and do during the week before the class. And then when the lifetime class comes, we look at what are the things that the students have struggled with. We need to get questions and everything, and then we work on things together in order to find out how to improve what we have learned. Okay? Does that make sense? So now, if you have a question, let's suppose that you are doing a problem and you get stuck in the middle of the week. So, let's see, we have classes usually Monday or Tuesday morning. How about if you are doing some of the exercises for the following week and you get stuck on something, what do you do then? What is the expected thing to do for that? Give up, go screaming,
You
quietly closing the computer and saying sorry.
you could reach out to the teacher and ask them if they have any
That's right.
feedback or advice. Yeah.
Yes, you can ask the teacher during the week anytime. So we are more than happy to help you. Okay. All right. And so that is something that it is available to you. So you don't have to wait, okay, or think like, okay, I'm stuck and don't continue. All right. So you can always ask for help. All right. So now, let's let's see, where are you in your math journey? Okay, you or your students, where are you in your math journey? At what level? What have you completed? Where do you think that you fit here? Stuart, what about you?
Well, I've had a bit of difficulty being able to learn math, like just I don't know, like it doesn't make sense, but I'm willing to learn. It's just in the past I haven't had much success with
Okay.
math.
Mhm. Okay, excellent. Well, that is where we are at. Okay, so and I'm happy to have you. Okay, and meet you wherever you are at. Okay, but the main thing is that you really will have to ask questions. Okay, because I cannot guess where the students are struggling or not. All right, I can help. I can, we can certainly help out, but if a student is struggling and is not asking anything, then it's very difficult to help out, okay? Because I cannot guess that, all right? So, Stuart, would you be willing to ask me questions? Yeah? Okay, great. All right. So, Camriana and Nathaniel, where are you in your math journey, learning this new language?
I don't know. I struggle with math somewhat, but I don't know.
Okay. Have you completed a course or what have you done so far?
I went through level 8 of rod and staff math, and then I'm working on the record keeping section of it.
Okay. All right. Nathaniel?
What have you done? Just say I
Is Nathaniel the guy sitting next to you, Cambriana?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Where are you in your math learning? No, math. Okay. All right. And Melissa, how about your students?
So I have one of my sons, he's actually just finishing the last 2 lessons of Saxon pre-algebra. And then my other son is also doing pre-algebra, but he's kind of in the middle and he's doing the pre-algebra through Denison math. He's not a very mathy person, and I'm sure some of you guys can agree. It's a little bit harder for him. So I have both, and we kind of try to find a course that would fit them both. So.
All right. Excellent. Good. Stokes family?
I have one son that is finishing up Denison Math Algebra 1, and then another son that is finishing up The Good and the Beautiful 5.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. The Palmers, I don't know if you're still driving, don't so be careful.
No, I am not driving anymore. So,
Okay.
so I have my daughter is interested in possibly doing pre-algebra or algebra. I was unfortunately she wasn't able to watch tonight, so she'll probably watch the recording. But I'm kind of filling it out for her. She's been doing she's really enjoyed Life of Fred and Danica McKellar's books on math. And so we're deciding if she wants to continue on that route or if she would like to do these classes. She really enjoys learning about math, so we'll see.
Excellent.
So I'm
Thank you
excited.
so much. Yes,
Yeah,
thank you. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Tiara Hansen, where are you? I don't know if you can unmute yourself and share. That would be great. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you and show you what I have prepared, okay, for you to kind of assess where you are at and which course you should maybe try to tackle, okay? So let me come here to this account, okay? All right. So I have here a kind of a student test account, all right? And do you have access to the website? Okay. Have you already have an account? All right. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. And so if you click here on courses 25-26, you will see the whole list of courses that are available. And if you get down to the math section, here on the pre-algebra, okay, in the pre-algebra course, I have added a place for you to do kind of like a pre-test, all right, and see at what level your student is in order to sign up correctly for the course, okay? So you don't have to buy the course before in order to do this pre-test. So the way that you do it, you see that there is kind of like a preview. You come here, okay? You don't want to buy the course yet because we don't know if it's going to be this math or the other one or whatnot, all right? But you can come here and then you click here on the course, okay? And that is going to actually let you see the overview and this pre-algebra and algebra readiness diagnosis tests, okay? So this is the area where you can come and see where I'm at. The overview just have kind of a general description about here the pre-algebra course, all right? I'm probably going to be adding some more information there. Okay, let's see, I need to go back. So we have here, we click on this, and then you can actually then go to see the preview here of this section that has 3 tests, all right? So we have a pre-algebra entry diagnosis test. We have the pre-algebra final course challenge. So this is to see if you are ready for algebra 1. Okay. And then we have the algebra 1 final course challenge to see if you are ready for algebra 2. All right. And so depending on where you are at, you take the test. Okay. And the whole idea here is for you to assess yourself how you are doing, and then you can decide, all right, this is where I'm at, okay? The pre-algebra entry diagnosis test, if we click here, it says this is a 25 question test, so it's not very long. And basically, I'm giving you the instructions that you can have a paper and pencil to work out the problems. All right. I'm going to ask you to try to do this without a calculator. Okay. And you can use the paper to write down the problem. So you write down the problem number and then work out the solution. You circle the correct answer. Okay. And if you can solve the problem on your mind and you don't need to write it down, then you can just write the problem number and the solution directly, okay, in the paper, all right? And of course, try to write as clearly as possible. So if there is a problem that you don't know, skip it, okay? Because the main purpose here of this test is not only to see how you are doing in pre-algebra, but also is to help me plan where I should start, okay, with all the students, all right? I'm willing to start at any point in order to make sure that all the students are being able to understand and have, again, a solid foundation for what they need, okay? So don't ask for help. Try to do this on your own. And so then we are ready to open here the pre-algebra readiness test. So when you get here, you will see this. This is like a Google form, a Google test. And you may have an email. You can enter the email address that I want you to enter here is the same email address that you use for the academy, okay? And also your name, enter it the same way as you would enter it for the academy, how you have it in the academy. And then we have the problems, okay? So then we have all the problems here, all right? And the last question is asking you to take a picture of your work, of the paper where you did your work, and you upload the paper there, okay? So that is also what is instructing you there, that after you finish, you take a picture of the work paper that you took, and you upload the picture as part of the last part of the test, all right? And then you submit your answers. That way, I'm able to kind of see how you are doing. If you are, if you ace the test, okay, you may think, all right, so probably I'm really ready for pre-algebra, okay? If you miss some of the questions of the test, that means that you may still be ready for pre-algebra, but we need to start a little earlier, all right? So I'm going to see what are the concepts that are missing and make sure that all the students are getting those concepts, okay? Does that make sense? Are we okay with that? Again, no stress. This is not, there's no problem on how you get the course. If you have already finished a pre-algebra course, and you think, okay, I'm probably ready for algebra 1, then you can think about taking this other test, the second one, that is the pre-algebra final course challenge, to indicate whether you are ready for algebra 1, okay? And this is a course, a test that is in the Khan Academy. We use Khan Academy because I love Salman Khan. He has great videos, and the tests and exercises are excellent. And so then you can click on this link, join the class. This is the code for the class, and then start the challenge test. So this is how the challenge test looks like when you sign up for the class. You would be taken to this. So let me show you how this works for the final one. If you have finished algebra 1 and you want to know if you are ready for algebra 2, then you click on this link, okay? And then we do the same thing. We go here to Khan Academy, this link is already going to enroll you into the challenge test. Okay, so you click on join, and then you will see here that this is the assignment. In this course, basically, the only thing that I have assigned is the test. Okay, and so you click on the start, and you will be taken to the course challenge test for Algebra 1. All right. So this test is about 30 questions long. The same thing, I think, for the other one, 30 questions long. And you do kind of the same thing. You work the problems. If there are problems that you don't know or don't understand, you can skip them, because, again, this is all in order to assess where you are at on things. Okay. After that, we are more than happy to meet with you, okay, one-on-one or with your family. And after the students in your family have taken either one or both of these tests, then we can discuss what would be the best course of action for your students. Okay, so that is the idea of this. So we have here these diagnosis tests that are ready for you to assess your own preparedness. I'm going to put this same diagnosis test here in the Algebra 1 and in the Algebra 2 course, okay, in order to help all the students see where they are at for the courses, okay? Questions about this, how this works? Any questions about this part? All right. I think that we are okay. So Tiara says, my son may be interested in pre-algebra, not sure if he's at that level yet. We haven't stuck with any set curriculum, really. All right. So the best strategy here would be to take this pre-algebra readiness test and assess and see where the student is. All right. So nothing to lose here. Okay. And then I encourage you, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Mrs. Wilkinson if you are interested there in Algebra 2. And we can see what is the best course of action moving forward. All right. So that is really our goal. Love of math, developing a love of math, and then being able to have a solid foundation. So it doesn't matter how far back we need to go, we'll make sure that we have a solid foundation to develop upon. All right. That is what I have. I wanted to share, if it were briefly, okay, some of my own experience with math. I grew up in Argentina, and I had the blessing, really, of having some fabulous math teachers, especially in my elementary school. Okay. In Argentina, you had that elementary school was from K to 7th grade, okay? 6th and 7th grade were kind of like a middle school, but they were not on a different building. They were still in the same building with all the elementary school students, okay? And then we had 5 years of high school. Instead of having 4 years, we had 5 years of high school. And at that time, in Argentina, in order to get into a high school, you had to pass an entrance exam. All right. And so the better the high school, the harder was the entrance exam that you had to pass. And so 7th grade was critical. 7th grade was very, very important because that year was the year where all the students needed to prepare to pass the entrance exams for deciding which high school you were going to go. All right. Every high school had an entrance exam on language, of course, in Spanish, and an entrance exam on math. And so both, being good in writing, spelling, vocabulary, grammar, and so that was critical for passing the entrance exam. And being very good in math was also a very important thing. Every student eventually would get, so usually you would take 2 or 3 entrance exams at different high schools in order to see which one you could get into. Okay, all the students eventually would get into one. All right, so there was always room for one. But the interesting thing was that in a big city like the city that I grew up in, our high schools were not geographically bounded. So it wasn't that you were assigned by geography to this high school. They were all assigned by whether you passed the entrance exam or not. Okay. So the math teacher that you had in 6th grade and 7th grade was really critical for the students. In my school, we had a very, very good math teacher that right when we were going to start 7th grade, got promoted to be the vice principal of the school. Okay. And so we were all like, who is going to be our math teacher now? And the teacher that got the assignment to be the math teacher for 7th grade was an older lady that had been teaching 2nd grade for about 20 years. Okay. And we were like, what is going to happen? This is going to be very difficult because she had been teaching 2nd grade and we needed to get prepared for the entrance exams. All right. So we started, all of us, we started our 7th grade with a lot of trepidation, to say the least. We were like, all right, we'll see what happens. We felt totally shortchanged because the previous math teacher had a very, very successful record of the students passing exams and getting into the best high schools and everything. And we were like, okay, I don't know how this is going to work. So we started the school year. She introduced herself, and we were all very, very negative, frankly, to tell you the truth. But she explained a concept, all right, on the chalkboard, and then wrote a problem on the board and said, the first 10 students that finish the problem correctly get a 10. Okay, in Argentina, our grades are from 0 to 10. Okay, so the first 10 students that get the problem correctly get a 10. Okay, and we were like, okay, whoop-de-doo, you get a 10, no big deal. So we would work the problem, and then we came to her desk, and she would mark, if you got the problem right, she would put, in your paper and says 10, congratulations, okay? Te felicito, all right, in Spanish, all right? And she would say, okay, that's 1. All right, if you got the problem wrong, she would say, it's wrong. But she didn't tell you what was wrong. Okay, and so you would go back to your desk and try to figure out what was wrong with the problem. All right, pretty soon, there was a line of students forming there to see who got the problem right and who got it wrong. Okay. And when the 10th student that got the problem right was graded, the teacher would say, okay, now you write the solution on the board. Okay. And she would dismiss the rest of the line. Right? Even if you got the problem right or wrong, it didn't matter. You didn't get the 10. Okay. And then she would stand up and write another problem on the board and said, the 10 students that get this problem right get a 10. Okay. So that was how all the classes went. Okay. Every single time it was pretty much the same pattern. She would start by explaining the new concept first in class and then put in problems, and we would try to get the 10, all right, to be one of the 10 students that got the 10. I have to tell you, pretty soon we were running in the hallway to get in line, to see if we would get the 10 or not. Okay. It was incredible the amount of work that we did. We were trying so fast to finish the problems correctly and being able to get the 10 on that. The 10 didn't mean anything, okay? She would mark it in her grade book, but it didn't have any bearing on your final grade or anything like that, all right? Because we were really, all that we wanted was to get ready for the entrance exams, all right? So what grade you got on 7th grade didn't matter too much, all right? The fact of the matter is that by the end of 7th grade, we were all so ready and prepared for these tests. It was just incredible, really. The work that she did was incredible. And she had a binder, she had a 3-ring binder with problems, and it looked like an inexhaustible amount of problems that she had there. It was just really fascinating how it worked. Okay. Not only that happened so in Argentina we had the school year is from March to December. Okay, the summer is the December Christmas break is the start of the summer for us, and the entrance exams in the high schools for the high schools were all during December. Some of them were even after Christmas, during the week, between Christmas and New Year's. All right. So classes would normally end around December 7th or December 8th, depending on the year. And then we would start with the exams. This teacher had the students coming to the school after class finish, after the school year finish, and whoever wanted to come, she would help them to get prepared for the exams. Okay. One other student and me, we took already our entrance exams, but we wanted to take an entrance exam to a new high school that was sponsored by the Air Force in Argentina. It was a brand new high school that was going to start, and they were saying, the entrance exams are going to be very rigorous, and we only are going to get the top students for this. So she offered, and this other friend, Marcelo, and I, we went to her house during December every single day from about 2 in the afternoon to 7 in the evening in her own home doing math all the time. Okay. It was just incredible, her dedication to us. And that really it certainly helped us prepare. We could solve problems mentally. It was incredible what we could do because of her support and her inexhaustible amount of practice problems that were available. It was incredible, really. And we both passed that entrance exam. I chose to go finally to a different high school. I didn't do the Air Force one, but I went to another high school, the Superior de Comercio, the kind of a business school that was very, very prestigious there in Argentina, and had great experience. But I can never forget about this math teacher. She was absolutely a jewel, really. I think that she was probably tops 5 foot tall, all right. Really kind of an old lady, but she was amazing on how she was able to help us and the energy that she helped us have in the class, okay, in the classroom. It was really a beautiful thing to experience. I don't know if I ever am going to be able to get to that point, all right, of being a teacher like her, all right. But that is my goal. My goal is that my students are going to be able to develop the confidence that they are going to be able to do math and enjoy it and have a great time doing it. So that is the goal. But we need a lot of cooperation. We cannot do this by ourselves. So we need to make sure that you are willing and ready to participate, to ask questions. We have one of the challenges that we have is that because we are an online academy, we only get 1 hour per week together to do the live class. But the advantage is that you can literally ask questions to me, to the teachers, anytime. All right. And generally, as soon as we see the question, we answer it. Okay. I'm a sucker for that. I'm so I can be at my job and everything. And if I hear the notification pling, and everything is like, okay, let me see, what is that? and if it's a math question, especially, I have to answer. I have to help out. So that is also an advantage that we do have. All right. So we are going to make sure that you have a great experience. So the trick is going to be assess yourself first, what level you are at, what level are your students, and don't be afraid of this test. This is, again, just for assessment purposes. And then we will see which course is best suited for you. All right. Just in case, if you enroll in a course and for whatever reason it's not, it's either too easy or too hard for you, we can only always transfer you to another course. Okay, so that is no problem. All right. So those are the courses and the offerings that we have for math. We have pre-algebra, algebra 1, Algebra 2, and then we have also the geometry course. That is also a fantastic course. I'm going to do a separate webinar talking about the geometry course especially. All right. So that is what I have for today. Any questions, comments? I
have a question.
Uh-huh.
So, what I know you mentioned that they have one live meeting a week, and so that's one live 1 hour meeting. And then what does the rest of the week look like as far as like assignments or readings or just that?
Excellent question. So let me share that with you. And this is really how all the courses work, okay? So if we go again and do the preview of the pre-algebra course, all right, we can click here. And so what happens is we have here the overview, we have the readiness test, and then we have here week 1, okay? So week 1 has videos and lessons and things that the students need to do before we get together for the first class, the first live class, all right? So the students are supposed to complete all these lessons, watch the videos, do the exercises, get things, and so on, and then even turn in the assignments for that week before the live class. Okay. When we get together for week 1, then we are going to then discuss what you have learned and done during week 1. And answer questions. We sometimes do Kahoot quizzes. We do more problems, more explanations, and so on. And then you are ready to start week 2. Okay, so let me share this part. Okay, let's see, we go here. I'm going to share with you the current course so you can see a little bit more about how that works. All right. So this is again now from the point of view of the teacher. All right. So we have week 1, and you have all the lessons there in week 1. And then the students upload their assignments here in the week 1 notes and questions and assignments section. And they basically take pictures of their assignments. They could be doing a spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet, and so on. And then that way they turn in what they have learned and done during the week. All right. So here I'm showing you kind of one example of that. So that is how it works for the class. And then we get together for the live class, and then I would open week 2, and then the students do the same thing. During the week, they work through week 2. It should take about anywhere from 3 to 4 hours to complete a week's worth of assignments and material. Okay, so whether the students want to do that all at once during one day, okay, or they wanted to spread it out during the week, that's up to the students. Okay, the schedule for the classes is here under the info and links section. So over here we see this is the 2024-25 school year that we are about to finish, but we have already opened the 25-26 school year, and we have here, this is the weekly calendar of when the live classes are being held. Okay, and the colors denote the different teachers. So I'm kind of, all my classes are from 8 to 9 Mountain Time. Okay. Mrs. Wilkinson is teaching here chemistry and algebra 2. Mr. Powell is teaching here geography and religion, all right, on Thursday afternoons. These are all on Mountain Time. Okay. And then over here also you have under the info and links section, you have the school calendar for the year. And we have on August 14, we are going to have a mandatory meeting for the students. All right, so by this time, the students should be all registered on the courses that they want to take and so on. And during this week, they should be completing week 1, because on August 18, we have the first class where we meet for this to discuss week 1. All right. So does that make sense, Melissa? Okay. So that is kind of how it goes. And so the classes, the red squares mean that there is a holiday or, a break. So we have fall break, Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, winter break, and a spring break. And then we finish this next year, we will finish on May 8th. All right. So that is how it works. Okay. Any other questions on this? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you recommend algebra 1 before geometry, or does it really matter?
It doesn't really matter. Okay. So I have seen many students being successful in doing either way.
Okay.
The geometry course that we have is really a very classical look at geometry using the elements of Euclid. All right. And it goes from the very beginning. We basically study the first 4 books of Euclid. This book and completing the first 4 books of Euclid has been for centuries considered to be a very good math education. All right. And so this, completing this course and really learning this is a fantastic way to start or complement your math journey. Okay. So when to take it, it depends really more on the student's interest than on a particular schedule. The algebra courses are more on sequence, okay? Because you have to kind of build on a good solid foundation. But if you are, if you're a student or yourself, you feel like, I'm kind of really afraid of numbers and this and that, maybe considering taking the geometry course would be a good start. The geometry course can kind of reset your mind frame and says, okay, we can do this. I'm not afraid now. All right. And so it's a good way of starting. It's not an easy course, okay? It's no easy picnic. It requires a lot of thinking, but it's a very, very good way of developing the math discipline to begin, having a great foundation and a good attitude towards math.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that would also require approximately 4 to 5 hours per week.
Yes.
Okay, that's a good estimate.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All the courses in general, I always tell the teachers that all the courses should, assign enough material that the students should take about that much, whether it's reading or doing assignments or completing things or whatever it is that they do. It should be about 3 to 4 hours of work. Of course, that there are some students that do it much faster, and there are some students that do it a lot slower. Okay.
Yes.
So, but that is kind of how it has been. How has it been for you, Stuart and Cambriana, in your experience with other courses here in the academy?
Literature doesn't usually take me that long because I'm a pretty fast reader, but health takes me minimum 3 hours.
Okay, excellent, good. So that is kind of the experience that we are going for. All right.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. If a student is new to the Well-Educated Heart Academy, we recommend that they do not take more than 2 courses, 1 or 2 courses to begin with. Okay. In order to kind of learn how things work and get used to things and not get stressed out for everything. All right. So we are here to supplement your homeschooling journey, not to completely take over. But we do offer lots of different courses in different areas and everything. And so my suggestion always to parents is let your student choose depending on what they want to learn. All right, that interest is paramount, really. Okay. Of course, that we always want to fit math and English because they are kind of very, very important and fundamental skills to have. All right. So I'm kind of biased towards that. But the main thing is we want the students that are interested, that are, that want to rise up to the challenge. Mm-hmm. Okay. Great. Alan, Kristen, anything else from your side that you would like to add?
I don't have anything in particular, but sounds like a good course, and I love the way it's set up for the students to be prepared for class and then have a discussion about it. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when the students come really ready, it really works very, very well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. By the way, they get much more out of it and learn much more when they come ready. I also want to say for Algebra 2, with Khan Academy being the way that we manage the coursework and their assignments and exercises, I'm going to next year make sure all of the parents as well have the Khan Academy account. As a parent, you can have a parent account that's tied to your student and you can see their work and their progress. And so I'd really like to enable the parents to be able to track that progress and see it better and work with their students as well. So that's what we're going to do in Algebra 2 at least.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that also in the other math courses. Okay, I didn't know. See, I didn't know that you could do that. Okay,
I was too late in the year when I figured it out. So
so we are totally always learning.
But
All
I
right.
love working with the students, like you said, to learn that love of math and to be able to do it and get to the end and say, I solved this puzzle. I figured it out. That's what you really want to be able to do, is have that joy of figuring it out.
Yeah.
So,
mm-hmm. Yeah. I always say that math is the most useful and fun game ever invented. Okay. It is really that way. So, all right. Excellent. Well, let me stop the recording here. And all right, we are